If you're looking to buy your first home soon, you're probably feeling extremely overwhelmed. And guess what? You're not alone. I recently had a conversation with not only all my clients, but many other people from all over the country who are buying their first home soon or in the process of buying their first home. And I basically narrowed down all of their top fears and narrowed it down to 3 of them. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break down each one of these fears, and then we're going to see if we can turn these fears into something more positive, turn it into like confidence. Because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal of actually owning where we live, so that we don't have a landlord that can just, with the snap of our finger, completely take away our living situation and send our life into chaos. The first fear people have is navigating the process of buying a home. A lot of people feel that it seems very complicated and seems overwhelming. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Buying a house is not complicated at all. It is made to be very complicated to increase the value of those who are helping you. So when you're buying a house, you're dealing with primarily 2 people. Those 2 people are your real estate agent and your mortgage lender. And those people have to deal with several parties like the seller's agent, the title company, the insurance agent, inspectors, and all of these things. Now, this has been a crazy year for commission and the whole lawsuit thing happening with NAR. But one thing that it's really realized is how inflated commissions are currently. For example, if you're buying a $500,000 house, the average commission for that agent will be 2 to 3%, meaning that they're making almost $15,000. Now, to put that in perspective, the salary for a first-year teacher, at least here in Arizona, according to ZipRecruiter, is $40,016 a year. So essentially, to help you buy your home, they're going to make almost half what a teacher makes. And a teacher sacrifices so much of their sanity and literally gives their life for our children. So something doesn't really add up there. So what we do, because I am an agent, is we really have to show our value. We like to overcomplicate the situation so that way you can just say, hey, let me just trust you with everything. You take care of it. Once you've done it once or twice, then it's a lot more manageable. It's not very difficult. It's pretty simple, actually. So what you need to do to handle this fear is just 2 things, okay? Number 1 is you need to have a very easy, simple breakdown of how it works, like a quick little timeline. And you do this with your agent or whoever you're going to hire. And once you've got that done, then go talk to someone who's recently bought a house and share what their experience has been. You're going to see a lot of comparisons, differences. And one thing you're going to really realize is, oh, wait, I only need to focus in on like these specific things when I'm in the buying process. It's not as complicated as it's being made to seem. So once you have a good framework of how it works, then you can, I guess, trust the experience of who you hired. But know that when you're looking to hire this agent, make sure that they actually can tell you what their experience has been. I know there's a lot of new agents out there, and it really sucks for me to say don't work with a new agent because we've all been there. But when you're buying something as important as your first home, it's just hard to not have someone on your side that has that experience, that has seen hundreds of transactions, right? Because then once you've seen 100 transactions, you've seen them all. Get yourself somewhat micro-educated first, then you can trust the experience. But if something ever feels a little bit off, then you need to really raise those red flags and say, hold up, this doesn't line up. I need you to fix this. Because remember, these people work for you. It's not the other way around. So you have the right to call them out on their BS if something doesn't feel right. The second biggest fear people have is they're afraid they're making a bad investment. You probably are making a bad investment if you're looking at your house like an investment. Let me explain. Let me just show you the monthly average sales price for Phoenix, Arizona. We've actually exceeded the tip of 2022, and this massive increase of value was created by artificially lower interest rates. This increase of value just doesn't make sense. We are definitely not in the best time if you're thinking at an investment. If you want to look at your house as an investment, then we got to build a time machine and we got to go back in time, because really that's the only thing that makes sense. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's plenty of other little cities and zip codes that are doing much better. And that's why I always tell you people not to look at national data for an idea of how your market's doing. Always look at individual zip codes, individual cities, and really microanalyze when it comes to data. Anyways, all that being said, is there people that are out there buying houses for rent and they're making money? Are there people out there that are still flipping houses? Absolutely. The opportunity is still there. You're just going to have to work a lot harder to get. And that's the same for you. So if you are looking for your house as an investment, then you need to quite simply do the following. You need to aggressively buy under market value. And you need to have a lot of cash so you can do a lot of the remodels, right? You can't, go be borrowing money from like these freaking wholesalers, or what are they called? The hard money lenders, and just hope that it works out and they're going to get paid and everything's going to be fine. It's a market that favors investors that are cash rich, so they have the ability to fund projects. And it's a market that favors those that are much more patient with their investments. They're going to hold on to it for an extended period of time. They're not just going to flip it and sell it within 6 months to a year. For people like you and I, we're probably not going to be making tons of money on our real estate investments. And that's just, the gravy train is over. We missed it. It is what it is. Now, it's really simple. You either have to own where you live or you have to rent where you live. If that's about the same monthly payment for both of them, then consider how much is it going to cost to get into a homeowner position. Do you have the savings to get yourself in a decent position? And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And if that's a no, then consider renting. We're not all going to live with our mom and dad. That being said, maybe a lot of us are going to have to be moving back in. But other than that, it's just the market that we're in. We have to be really realistic with this. So how we handle this fear is with brutal honesty. Are you making a bad investment buying a house right now? Yes. Yes, you are. But you're not buying a house for an investment. You have to be buying a house for other reasons. And I always tell you guys this. You have to have a strong why. ¿Por qué? P-O-R space Q-U-E-E. ¿Por qué estás comprando? My Spanish isn't great. I grew up with my mom only speaking Spanish. And you would think I speak perfect Spanish. But now when I speak Spanish, I speak like a no sabo kid, even though I do sabo. So that's fun. Anyways, ¿por qué? Why are you buying a house? Ask yourself this. Javier, I'm so sick of my landlords kicking me out of my house after I finally get my things settled. Okay. Javier, I'm so sick of my landlords calling to tell me that this, that, or the other. Okay. Javier, I'm buying a house because I want to own and give my family somewhere to settle and be there for the next 5-10 years so my kids can go to the same school and have stability. Okay. All those answers are valid, but you have to have a why. Because the idea of it's a solid investment. Of course I'm going to buy. I'm going to make a bunch of money. That idea is gone. And the final boss, the final fear that I figured out, that was probably the biggest one after talking to a lot of people. The King Ganon, as we say. I have an 8-year-old, 9-year-old son. He starts playing a game and he just won't finish it. And I just keep telling him, dude, you got to finish a game. You can't just be switching. He'll get to the last levels and he'll just jump to another game. It drives me crazy. I remember growing up playing Nintendo 64. As you can see, all the games back there. And it's just I did not drop. Maybe that's where my ADHD really started acting up. I couldn't drop a game until I was done with it. Anyways, one of the only games he ever finished from beginning to end was Ocarina of Time because I was insistent he did it. And now to this day, he doesn't ever stop talking about Ganon. Anyways, the King Ganon of this video is going to be the last fear, which is definitely the most prominent one that I saw. Buying a house is going to put you in a bad financial position. So there's a lot of ways to say this. I'm not going to be able to afford my house. I'm going to lose out on all my money if I lose the house. There's going to be so many repairs and remodeling to do that's going to kill through my savings. When I was talking to people, because I kind of came already with the pre-existing notion of what people thought, and I kept asking people, is it the market? Are you concerned of it? Are you thinking you're going to make a bad investment? And certainly people did say that. But the biggest fear that people kept saying is no, I'm just scared that I'm really good right now. I have a great savings position. I have a great job. And if I buy a house and I'm put in a bad spot, I'm going to go through all my savings and just lose my house and be in a bad position. A lot of us saw our parents really struggle and even lose their house. And I think that really affected a lot of us. And whenever we started seeing this whole, market going up and interest rates and, pandemic, all that crap, then it was terrifying. And we do not want to make the same mistakes that our parents did. And I think this is the most valid. First and foremost, out of all these fears are valid. But I really want to make sure to understand and show you guys I totally get it. So for me, what I've learned and what I'm currently working on, because I'm not there yet, is building this triad. I like triangles are the Triforce. And there's 3 things that I feel everybody needs to have and needs to have really solid before they even consider buying a house. One of the triangles are going to be budgeting and saving. You have a budget set, you have financial goals, you're living by tracking every single dollar, and more importantly, you know what your monthly payment that you can actually afford is. And secondly, you have an emergency fund, like a strong emergency fund, like not just like I have a month or two. You have 3-6 months plus of living expenses that are easily accessible. You can pull out and you need just in case. Second triangle of the Triforce is the debt management. You have all your high interest debts managed and paid. Even if they're not paid off, they're paid low and they're managed very well. And you have a really good habit of avoiding unnecessary debt. This means you're not going and rolling over car loans to other car loans. That's a big issue I had in my youth. You're not out there getting a credit card every time you're pitched one at the whatever store you're shopping at. You're living your life using debt as a tool, not having the debt use you. That didn't really come out well, but anyways. And the third one is you have some kind of contribution to your retirement account. You're diversifying it, growing wealth over time, doing all kinds of things, either to apply through your job or you met with a financial advisor. You'd be surprised how many people my age don't just go make an appointment with a financial advisor. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's terrifying, but please just go meet one. And the reason why you don't find them on YouTube is because they have so many strict rules on what they can say and not say. So stop listening to all these dummies on YouTube that are saying financial advice like this guy, and go actually talk to someone that knows what they're doing. You have your family and yourself protected by insurances like health insurance, life insurance. You have your estate planning stuff. You have a will set up just in case anything happens. And this is really important because like a lot of people look at this house as like their only way to actually leave something behind for their family. And people in California understand this really well. They're not going to ever really afford a house ever unless they get incredibly lucky. They have different forms of investments they're investing in, and hopefully they have these like great things that they're leaving behind for their family. Like I always tell you guys this, I would rather leave my family multiple 6-figure forms of investments that they can slowly access than a bunch of debt, or the house with a bunch of debt that maybe they can sell and make 50, 100K on or something. You know what I mean? Like, no, I want them to leave the house so they can afford where they live, and I want this forms of investment to be there for them. I think having this Triforce really builds a financial peace of mind that needs to be had for anyone considering buying a home. This is still not going to solve anything. I'm sure you're still going to be very concerned, very frustrated, and maybe after doing all this, you're going to find out, well, I can't really afford a house. Oh, well, it doesn't really seem like it's feasible for me because I'm still saving. But either way, you have a much more secure foundation, right? And you're aware of where you are. Because your life is going to change. Maybe you're going to meet somebody and they make just as much as you, and now you can actually go afford a house. Maybe you are going to get a huge promotion, or you're going to find another job path, and that's going to make you a bunch more money. Maybe you end up having to move a completely different city and state where you can now afford. You're not always going to be in the position you're going to be in today. But having the confidence in all these fears that most people have, and knowing that where you stand with each one of these things is probably the best thing you can do for yourself and your family, of course. So I would love to hear if you guys agree or disagree with any of the fears that people have, or if you have any additional fears that I didn't mention that people really need to know about and have secured. I would love if you can leave a comment section below. I've had a lot of people that tell me that not only do they learn a lot from my videos, but the community we built here, the comments being left down below with people saying this, that, or the other are like huge points of value. So I really appreciate it if you take the time to leave a solid comment. I don't get to heart every single one of them, but trust me, if they bring value, they'll really appreciate it. So thank you guys. Speaking of Triforces, I got 3 things to plug. If you want an agent referral, homeandmoney.com/Javier. If you want home buyer resources, go to the Patreon. If you're looking for an agent in Phoenix, Arizona, reach out to me. That's all I got. The Triforce. That's the point of today's video. Lots of 3s. If I was super wealthy, you guys probably thought I was an Illuminati or something. but I'm not. The only Illuminati I'm part in is Illuminati these tacos. See ya.